Got two of the peppercorn style pork rinds. They're in the freezer. I'm going to show you. I'm going to put them in the pan and bake slow all day. Don't want you to see me. I'll turn you right around this way so I can show you how I'm going to open them. Open them like this right here. Kitchen scissors. Got my pan clean. I'm just gonna pour this out right here because it's got that peppercorn seasoning on it. And I just let they're still frozen. Just wet them enough to get it out. Doing the other one. And these are going to bake slow all day. This will be for supper. So here's the other one. And again, this is called Asiago peppercorn style pork loin fillets. You can buy these at Food City or Walmart. I'm gonna put this fat side down. Leave the lean side up. And some aluminum foil. See them guys? This is going to be part of our supper. Just got to stick a blue bonnet. And I'm just going to lay this right here in between them. I don't think it's going to, I'm going to put some water in it. Put it in the bottom, try not to wash your spices off. That's probably about a cup and a half, and here's another cup and a half. You want to make plenty of water in here. It will make a sauce. You can also add, at the end, you can add a package of McCormick pork gravy. And have the gravy in there to go over mashed potatoes or whatever. You want to make sure that seal is hot. Put one more. And put some fresh green beans in the cook. Now I'm doing other things. So I'm going to keep this over here in the oven. We're going to start it off at, I'm going to put one more on that side. Break it up like you would a turkey. You want it to steam bake. You don't want it to be clean. It's going to go on a low. I'm going to put it on 400 for about 30 minutes. And then I'm going to put it down to about probably about 250 for the rest of the day. Just right now, 1 o'clock, it'll probably be 5 or 6 o'clock. So these are going in the oven at 400 for about 30 minutes. You always want to cook your meat at 400. Let me get this again. 400 for at least 30 minutes to an hour. Until it gets started. And then I'm going to hit the timer for 1 hour. And then I'm going to cut it down to about 250 for the rest of the time. So I'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm going to put some fresh green beans on. This is the green beans that we put away that I had got at Food City. And we broke them up. And now what I'm doing is just washing them. You want to make sure you wash them before you put them on the cook, because when I broke them, I didn't wash them. That's how you keep them good and fresh. They ain't got no freezer burn in them or nothing. So I'm going to scoot you back just a little before I can go ahead and get these washed. And it's not, you don't have to wash them and wash them and wash them. Because I look through them as I go. If there's any bug bites when I break them up, I take all that out. These are beautiful, beautiful, beautiful green beans. I love them. We don't throw no green beans away. We eat on them all week. So I'm going to put them in the kettle. And I'm going to wash this out of the bag. So they'll shrink down something. So that was 2 bags of frozen green beans. They've been in the freezer. I've got them in the counter and water's running over them, running out. And then I have a great big bowl. I'll show you here what to do. You do want to make sure you wash them though, because of any spray or anything that could have been on them. Got them on hot water wash them. You all remember how I done them. So what I do is I put enough water in them to just barely be over the, there's one with a piece of the string on it that I've missed. Just barely hitting the top, and then I put a big spoon of Crisco shortening, or you can use olive oil in these, whichever one you prefer. I'm in one of them butter Crisco modes today. Let me set these over on the stove, as you can see, just right at the top. Cut them on high, get them started. I'm going to turn you around here. Got my leg here to go on. I'm going to get my big spoon out. Hopefully I got some butter Crisco. All right, this is probably approximately about 2 tablespoons, this big spoon of salt, just regular salt. So it's just sort of a level spoonful. This is black pepper, it's your choice. I use that coarse ground black pepper. And then 1 heaping, big spoonful, like I said, this is approximately about 2 tablespoons. So it's just 1 heaping of these in here. I get them to boiling. And these things, it's just like you've got them out of the garden when you get them done. So I'm going to let them boil till they start boiling, then I'm going to cut them down on about a medium-low heat and just let them cook slow all day. So I'll be back in a few. Alright guys, I'm back. And I don't know if you can tell what I'm fixing to make, but I'm fixing to take this French bread. And this is, I got this French bread. I'm going to make 2 small ones so I can give one of them away. I got this on sale at Food City, so it's I want it a little bit dry and stale, so I don't have to put it in the So what I'm going to start doing, I don't want to have to put it in the oven to dry it out. So it feels like it's pretty dry. And all you got to do with this, let me move this bowl out of the way just for a minute, is get your bread tore up. And it's just one regular loaf of French bread. And actually you can use biscuit bread, you can use stale light breads, stale sourdough bread, any kind of white bread like this. You cannot use like cornbread and stuff like that. I don't think you can use like canned biscuits. I know I've used leftover biscuits, homemade leftover biscuits, but you just tear this up. And then I'm going to make a sauce that goes over it, and I'm going to let it soak the bread really, really good. And then I'm going to bake it. So that's probably about half. I've got another one over here. And I'm going to add some raisins, and I'm going to chop some pecans and put in there. Trying to adjust it where you can see what I'm doing. Okay. And it says this called an old-fashioned bread pudding. My cousin Teresa is wanting me to try to do a caramel cake with caramel icing. Now my mother-in-law used to make one in a flat pan like this, a long flat pan, and she would just use a yellow cake mix, or you can make it from scratch. I have a recipe from scratch that you can make it, but on mine you can use it. I can send you the recipe, Teresa, for that one from scratch. It's just all-purpose flour, and you use baking soda, salt, baking powder, sugar, that flour, that all-purpose flour, and then you mix all your dry ingredients, and then you put eggs and a little bit of brown sugar, and then you put, and that looks like that's pretty full on that one. Then you put your vanilla flavor, or what kind of flavoring you want, in your batter for your cake. Then you can bake that in a long pan, or you can bake it in two 9-inch pans. And your caramel icing consists mainly of butter and brown sugar in a saucepan, and you let that boil until it starts getting thick and all the sugar's melted. You put some cream in there, or milk. I prefer to use cream, canned cream, evaporated milk. And I'm telling you this so you can try that. And if you try it and you make one, send me some pictures. I'd love to see it. But the way things is with me, I have so much going on anymore. I'm still in my pajamas is the reason I'm not letting you see me. And my hair, I've got bedhead this morning. So anyway, I've got that pot of green beans on cooking. And then I've got them 2 little pork loins and peppercorn pork loins that I got, that I found in the freezer that need to be fixed for supper. They're in a pan with just butter and water and plenty of seasoning on them. And I'm just going to steam bake those the rest of the day. After that first hour, and it likes about 40 minutes of that first hour, I cut them down to about 250 and let them bake slow for the rest of the day, because they are froze solid. So anyway, getting back to that caramel cake or caramel cake, whatever you want to call it, my mother-in-law did make them from scratch, and it was simple. I will take a picture of the recipe and send it to you, Teresa. And your caramel icing is, like I said, butter, brown sugar, so much butter and brown sugar, and I think I've got a recipe for it too. And you let that melt and get your sugar melted, and you start putting your cream in there, and you let that come to a boil. And as it starts to get thick, a little bit thick, you take it off the stove and let it cool for a few minutes. You put it in a mixer. You want a really, really good heavy-duty hand mixer, or you really want one that's I'm gonna put a few more pieces of bread. I've got another loaf here because I want it to be good and thick. You take that hand mixer, with that butter and brown sugar and cream that's thickened after you boiled it, and then you put it in a heavy duty, probably a KitchenAid bowl, and you beat that, and then you add powdered sugar till it gets to like a frosting texture. And it has to still be warm but not hot, because once it gets warm it sets up. And when it sets up, it will get a crystally sugary like. I saw a recipe on YouTube using that Deluxe caramel in a can, and I'm thinking, you know, that's sort of like what people do now. They'll put that Eagle brand in the oven or in boiling water for so long, and then let it makes its own caramel. But I'm just wondering, I saw this one recipe where this woman done a cake, and she used the Deluxe caramel, but also you do know that was gorgeous, but I bet you that would be rich. Oh my goodness. So I've used a big hunk of that other French bread, and I can put that right back in the freezer, seal it up and put it back in the freezer, and it'll still be good till the next time I decide to make a bread pudding. Okay, I've not made one of these in a long time. And you want plenty of bread, because when you make your milk mixture, you use milk, cream. If I had some heavy cream, I don't have it, but I've still got some of that canned cream up there in the refrigerator. I'm going to use it, and then I'm going to add some milk, and then some egg beaters. You can use eggs. So we've got this. We're going to add some raisins to this, and you just guess how many raisins you want in it. I like raisins myself. I do love them. So I'm not going to put it as many in it. Well, I guess I can. If I don't like them, I can pick them out, is what I say. Ain't that what you say? So I'm just adding raisins to this bread. This is just a food club. I've got another one out there. It's a name brand on my pantry shelf. So you want to keep this sort of, make sure that goes down through there. You don't want them on all one big clump. I love bread pudding, and I like the vanilla sauce that goes on it, or a caramel sauce. You can take the bread pudding and scoop it in a bowl, put you a scoop of vanilla ice cream and some of that vanilla sauce and honey. It's like I said, your tongue will slap your brains out. I've got 1 cup, that was probably about a cup each of raisins. I'm going to put them back up. I've got 1 cup of pecans, they're the big ones. And I'm going to put that in my chopper. Well, if I can find my thing that goes in here. And here it is. And I'm going to chop these, so you just hold on just a second. I want them chopped real fine, and then I'm going to try to divide that in between these 2 pans. Now also, whenever you put them in you can put them in a bowl or a cup, a beautiful little cup, to display them. Put you a big scoop of your bread pudding, a scoop of ice cream, some caramel sauce or this white vanilla sauce that I'm going to make, and then you can add a few of the whole pecans on there just for presentation. Okay, so you can make this a very luxurious dessert, or I mean, it's whatever. I have this stuff on hand already, because a lot of times I'll buy stuff if I catch it on sale. Like I'm gonna lay these over here while I'm making the sauce. If I catch this French bread, this was $1.80. If I catch this French bread on sale, I buy a loaf or 2 and I stick it in the freezer, because it doesn't hurt. It stops the process of it aging. And if you use it within, I'd say 6 months, it's not going to hurt. You could even take and put this in a Ziploc bag too and make sure that it's good and sealed, and then put it back in the freezer. So to begin let me get this mess up here. I can't stand the mess, youngins, I'm telling you. I just can't stand it. I just can't take it. I'm just not one of them people who can. My kitchen's got to be halfway clean or clean before I can do anything in it. I know a lot of people that I know are at our street festival, our local street festival in Newport, Cotton County, Tennessee. So if y'all want to go down there and visit that, I saw on Facebook, looks like they got about 2 blocks of vendors and arts and crafts. And guys, you don't want to miss that. So anyway, I'm going to try to make up quite a bit of this vanilla sauce. This is a sauce that goes over top of the bread pudding, and this is before you bake it. I'm sorry, that was my curtain. So let me get some butter. This butter will probably go on top when I go to bake it. So I've got my measuring cup here that I had my pecans in. And I've also got a can of sweetened condensed milk. Now, let me tell you something, ladies. This is my version, okay? You do it ever how you want to do it, but you don't have to use the sweetened condensed milk. I just find that it makes it more richer. It's a more luxurious, sweet, precious dessert. And it just makes it special. So I'm going to start with, well, that was a mess, wasn't it? I'm going to start with 1 can of sweetened condensed milk, and you can get whatever label you want to get. Okay? I just get whatever. When you bake or cook a lot, this is the same quality. I used to use Eagle Brand all the time, and Eagle Brand's good. I catch it on sale, I buy Eagle Brand. But this is about $1 cheaper than Eagle Brand, so this is what I use, and this is what I keep in my pantry. So I'll start out with a can of Eagle Brand. Of sweetened condensed milk. And sweetened condensed milk consists of, let's see if we can see it on here. It contains milk and sugar. Now some of them have egg. I don't see any egg in this one, okay? So some of them do have egg, milk, and sugar, and it's condensed down. So we've got 1 can of sweetened condensed milk. And wash my hands. I got that sticky stuff all over me. Get my hand towel here. I'm going to start out. Let me find that little bit of cream I had left. I want to go ahead and use that. I hope you guys enjoyed that video I had on yesterday. I cannot pronounce that sandwich correctly, and I'm sorry. I believe it's called muffalate or muffalata sandwich. Anyway, guys, y'all know what I'm talking about. So I thought a little bit, I'm going to measure this so you'll know. This is what I still had in the fridge from the other day that I wanted to use up. I don't like keeping it too long in the refrigerator. Once it's been open, probably about a month is about as long as I try to use it. That's 1 good cup. So I'm going to go ahead and put that cup of evaporated milk in on top of that condensed, sweetened condensed milk. I'm going to add this is probably going to be, let me cut my oven back down. Got about 30 minutes on that 400. So while it's sitting there, I'm going to let this soak. I'm not going to put it in the oven immediately. So I want to say that 3 eggs is 3/4 cup of egg beaters. We're going to go with a full cup, which is going to be around 4 eggs. Okay, then I'm going to use about, since I put the sweetened condensed milk in, I'm going to use about 1 cup of sugar. So that's 1 cup of sugar. That was 1 can of sweetened condensed milk, 1 cup of evaporated milk, 1 cup of egg beaters, or approximately 3 to 4 eggs. Okay, we're going to use, well, I don't even see my, I'm going to use my teaspoon here. I don't see my measuring set. We're going to have about 2 teaspoons of vanilla flavoring. In this, and I've already got my sugar. It's got 1 cup of sugar. It's got my eggs, and so I'm going to need plenty. You can see how much is in here. I'm going to need plenty of sauce to soak all that bread. So I'm going to add probably 1 more starting. And this is a 2% Food Club milk, Food City. So we're going to start out with 1 cup, and I may add 1 more because you got to have a lot of fluid when it starts soaking up that bread pudding to make it good. So now we've got the vanilla sauce started. We just want to stir that and combine all those really nice ingredients. And then I'm going to start, let me get my measuring set. I've got to put some cinnamon. I'm going to put, I'm going to start out with probably a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Okay, guys, what do you think? Half a teaspoon of cinnamon. That's a level teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm going to put about a half a teaspoon of nutmeg. Nutmegs are really strong. I better go down to probably, I'm thinking maybe a 1/4. And you see what that is. I'm going to do about a half of that. So, because nutmeg is really strong, so you can see it's not hardly full. It's about a 1/4 of a teaspoon of nutmeg. We've done a half a teaspoon of cinnamon, and then I love cloves, so we're going to do about a half a teaspoon of cloves, and it's a good strong spice too. So that was a half a teaspoon of cloves. And then we're going to give that a stir. I'm going to get my whisk out, guys, so I can make sure all those spices are whisked up in there. Washing my hands again. I don't like that sticky stuff on my hands. So what we're going to do is just try to whisk all this together, making sure we're getting the eggs and the spices and all this good stuff. Go back over that is 1 can of Eagle brand, 1 cup of evaporated cream, it's just cream, 1 cup of regular 2% milk or whole milk, whatever you have on hand, and a cup of sugar, 1 whole cup of egg beaters, or approximately 3 to 4 eggs, a half a teaspoon of cinnamon, a half a teaspoon of cloves, and about a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. Now guys, I don't know how you taste this stuff, but like I said, I come up with a lot of this myself, so I'm just going to taste of just a dab. You see there. And that tastes good, but I'm thinking it's going to need a little bit more sugar. I wouldn't have thought that it would, but I just don't taste the sweetness that I'm desiring to taste in it. So I think it usually takes about 2 cups, even if you're using the Eagle brand. But like I said, this is a lot of, so that's going to be 2 cups of sugar. Guys, girls, I just write this down because a lot of my recipes are just by memory. not from the Eagle brand, but I add that myself because it makes it so much more thick and beautiful. And it gives it a high gloss into your glaze. I'm going to add 1 more cup of milk. So that's going to be 2 cups of milk. And this is just 2% milk. 1 cup of cream, the evaporated cream, 1 can of Eagle brand. Or the sweetened condensed milk, your whatever kind you want to do. So, like I said, we need a lot of this to soak up all this bread. This thing is absolutely delicious once you get it done. It's really, really good. You see all this? Let me move my butter so you can see. See all that? Now I'm going to stir that again, and then I'm going to taste. Those egg beaters are not going to hurt nobody. They've been pasteurized, so they're not going to hurt nobody. Alright, and then let me taste that one more time, and you can see. Okay, now that tastes pretty good. We had 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I'm going to do another teaspoon of vanilla. What makes this good is your milk, your sauce that goes over it, because your bread has no flavor hardly ever. I think it's got enough spices though. I taste the spices, all of them. Now that tastes good. So let me tell you, 1 can of condensed sweetened milk, 1 cup of evaporated milk, 2 cups of 2%. This is 2% milk. You can use whole milk. 1 cup of egg beaters or 3 to 4 eggs. 2 cups of sugar. 1/4 of a teaspoon of nutmeg. 1/2 a teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1/2 a teaspoon of cloves. Now let me get this back over here. We've got this ready. I'm hoping I have enough mixture to soak these 2, because these are going to sit for a while before I put them in the oven. Okay, I want all this to soak. In this, we have French bread that's been torn apart. We have about a cup of raisins in each. I'm mashing this down. And then we have a cup of pecans that have been crushed really, really fine. So as you start to pour, and yeah, you're going to need a bowl that's got a spout on it. You're going to try to do half of this. I'm doing half of this in this one pan. My family gets so much sweets that they get tired of certain things. So I plan on giving 1 pan of this away. I know some people, they pour their mixture over their bread and then they put it in the refrigerator and leave it overnight so it soaks up, the bread soaks up all that goodness. I like to see mine just a little bit more moisture than this is showing me. Than this is looking. So guys, what I'm going to do, I've got more bread now than what I thought. I'm going to mix up about a cup of milk. I'm probably going to put, instead of just mixing it up, because I know how the flavor is really good, and a cup of milk in each one of them is not going to hurt it. So let's take 1 cup of milk. This is the 2% Food Club milk, Food City milk. We're going to pour over it. You want this soggy. You want your bread soggy to the touch. Okay? That's getting there. So you can do this on the last. If you wrote all that down, fine. Now I'm seeing milk now when I push down. And that's what I want. So I'm going to do this other pan. I'm going to do another cup of milk. When I push down, I'm not seeing milk. So when I push down on it with my hand, I want to see the milk, and I see it in that one now. So you want to do this last. It's not going to affect the flavor. Your flavors are already in there. I'm going to move this out of the way and wash my hands. Guys, I'm telling you, if you've never tried bread pudding, you need to try it. You really need to try it. It's one of the old-fashioned favorites that I remember as a child. My family, they used leftover biscuit bread or light bread that was stale. That's what they used. They didn't have store-bought French bread, but French bread, it just makes it better. Now, as you can see, this right now, I'm going to let this sit here. Let me clean this mess up that I've made. Didn't know I'd made that big a mess. And I'm going to let this sit here for a few minutes and let that milk soak into that. And I want to show you with a spoon, you can see when you mash down on this, you see that milk, and all that does is mix in with what all you've already put in there. So you're mashing this down, and you're going to let this bread absorb all this goodness, okay? Same way with this one. You can see the milk or the mixture. When you mash down on it, you can see it coming to the top, and that's what you want. You want your bread pudding to be, the bread to be soaked with all these flavors. Now, what I'm going to do is take that stick of butter and I'm just going to cut some pieces. Right across it, you see that? And I've done about 3 on each, about 9 pieces on each pan. Alright, and that was a whole stick of butter, and that was divided between those 2 pans. Now, my oven is ready for me to cut it down. Likes about 18 minutes. I'm going to set this over here on the stove next to where my green beans are cooking. And I'm going to let that sit there and soak a while I clean this mess up. And then I'm going to show you how to do the vanilla sauce right before they're done, because I'm going to put these in the oven. Once they've sat here and soaked about 30 minutes, I'm going to put them in the oven on about 350 for about 35 to 45 minutes until it's bubbling and golden brown. Until that is bubbling and golden brown there. Let me get you where you can see it. And just let them sit there for about 30 minutes, 15, 20, 30 minutes, something like that, whatever much time you have. This is one of those days that you need to do this when you're at home, or let it soak overnight and then put it in the oven when you come home. Okay? So I'm going to let this soak. I'm going to put it in the oven on 350 for about 35 to 45 minutes so it's golden brown and bubbling. And then I'm going to make my vanilla sauce that goes over top of it, okay? So I'll see you in a few. Alright guys, these have been sitting out a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and put them in the oven on 350 on the second rack, the middle rack. And I've got my oven at 350 for 45 minutes. So we'll be back when they get bubbly. Alright guys, I'm back, and these bread puddings are golden and bubbly, and they're just beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and make my vanilla sauce. Let me get you started here. Just hold on a second. Okay guys, we're going to start out. I've got my bread puddings out. They're sitting right over there on the bar, cooling. And then I'm going to go ahead and start making my vanilla sauce, and we'll start out with a stick of butter. Started melting there. I'm going to put 2 cups of, like actually I'm going to do about 3 cups of milk. I want enough vanilla. Let me do 4 cups. We're going to do 4 cups of milk. I might as well just use the rest of that in there. That's about 4 cups and a half, 4.5 cups of milk. That's 2% milk. 1 stick of butter. I'm going to put some cornstarch. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to use a little bit of flour while that milk's still cold. There's 1 big heaping. We'll do 2. I think that's going to be plenty for that amount of milk. So that's 2 tablespoons of flour, 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, 4.5 cups of milk. We're going to do the vanilla in just a minute. So I'm going to let this start. I'm going to try to get this cornstarch whisked up before it starts lumping. I don't want it to lump. So you want to put your cornstarch and your flour in while your milk is still cold. This makes a very creamy, velvety vanilla sauce. You can also add rum flavoring. You can add any kind of flavoring you want to add, but it'll have to go with your raisins, your pecans, and mostly what it has to go with would be your spices, your cinnamon, your nutmeg, and your cloves. It will clash with a lot of flavors, so that's why caramel goes really good with it. The caramel sauce goes really good with it. But what I'm going to do is just put this vanilla sauce over it. And then if somebody wants to add some caramel sauce, I've got some already made. Well, it's store-bought in the refrigerator. So anyway, we're going to let this start getting warm and coming to a boil. Let me see if I can find my whisk, my other whisk. I've not seen it. My husband puts the dishes away, so all that is way down in there. So he's put it down in here. And it doesn't go down in here, but at least he tries. So we're going to start whisking this. Stir my green beans while I'm over here. They're smelling really good. Put that wooden spoon there to keep them from boiling over. I'm trying to get this now. It's on a medium-high heat. Trying to get this started. I'm going to add 2 cups of sugar. It's just white granulated sugar. If you want to add some brown sugar, you can. I was telling my cousin earlier about I'm going to try to do one of those caramel cakes, but I think I'm going to do just a flat one with a yellow or a butter cake mix. And you can do that. It's a shortcut, but I will send you the one from scratch. But it's a long process of doing it and a lot of ingredients. But I will do the icing for it the old-fashioned way. So now we've got 4½ cups of milk. We've got 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, 2 tablespoons of flour, self-rising white lily flour, 1 stick of butter. We have 4½ cups of milk, 2 cups of sugar, white sugar. So we'll put the flavoring in it last. I also have some cinnamon sugar that I may sprinkle on top once I get the sauce on there. Man, that's so good. Simple yet elegant and so good. You want this to come to a boil but not burn, so you have to absolutely stay with this. This is a vanilla sauce. This would be the type of sauce that you would make for a coconut cream pie, but you would add coconut, and also your chocolate pie, you would add chocolate. Okay? Usually with a butterscotch pie, and you put the butter in last with the flavoring. And then on my butterscotch pie, I use butterscotch morsels. So I'll have to show that to you someday. It's really, really good. This is still on about number 7. And the highest this goes before it goes to high is 8. So we're going to turn it down to about 6. It's going to be a medium high heat. And it's getting creamy looking. Beautiful. See that? Boy, that is so good. Wait till I put that vanilla in there. And then I'm just going to pour it over. I'm going to bring one of them over here so you'll be able to see it. And I've got my cast iron skillet out, ladies. You know what that means? That means I'm going to make some more cornbread. My husband devoured, him and my puppy dog devoured that last skillet cornbread I made. This is, I want to show you the consistency. See, it's runny, but yeah, it's thickening. I'm cutting the heat on down. It's beautiful. See how silky, creamy that is? I'm going to put about maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons of vanilla. You can also put butternut in this, butternut flavor. We got about 3 tablespoons or 3 teaspoons of vanilla. This is so good, guys. This, see how pretty and creamy that is? It looks sort of like a coconut custard. It's a custard is what it is. It's so good. My goodness, that's good. This is so good. So this is about ready. Cutting this off. I'm going to start pouring this over. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ladle. Move this cup out of the way. Move this spoon out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to put this right here. Move this back. You see how beautiful and creamy this is? So this is going to be your vanilla sauce that goes over your bread pudding. And man, oh man, does this look good. And you can take this out in spoonfuls, or you can cut it. I think it'll cut once it gets cold. And then put it in a really pretty little bowl or a cup. And add, you can add a scoop of ice cream to the top of it, and put some caramel sauce and sprinkle some pecans on top. And honey, it's so good. And you see, it's just so easy made. I don't know of anybody that doesn't like bread pudding. There's a girl that I work with, she said, just bring me a little bite. So this one's ready. I'm going to put the rest of this side. And you want it covered. You want it up. That's why I went ahead and put 4.5 cups of milk. Because you want your bread covered. This other spoon, so I scrape all that goodness out. Hopefully you can see that, guys. Trying to keep you from seeing me. I look horrid. Got my pajamas on. See that? I'm trying to clean house, give the dog a bath, get this cooking down, make this video. I think we're going to go to church tomorrow. I think we're going to go to the Street Festival after church tomorrow. That is absolutely beautiful. Let me wipe this excess off. I want you to see it. It's turned out beautiful. See how beautiful that is? So, what I'm going to do with this cinnamon sugar is it's going to be very lightly on it. Just very, very lightly. Alright, guys, that is our bread pudding. I have one for my family and I have one to give away. So I'll be right back. You can see my green beans. They're just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I was almost tempted to put some potatoes in that. So I'll see you in a few. Alright guys, I wanted to show you again how I make my skillet cornbread. Ladies, there's no reason why you can't make good cornbread with this easy, simple recipe. You just get you a big old pan of that butter Crisco. And my pan's been sitting over here on the stove, so it's trying to melt on me. That's okay. But we'll put that in there anyway. This butter Crisco makes that crust so golden and good. I'm gonna wash my hands. I'm going to put that in there while I have my roast in there. So, put this right here where you can see I've got my measuring cup. We're going to start out with 2 cups of meal, maybe a little bit more because this skillet's deep. That's going to be a heaping cup of meal, self-rising hot lily meal. Two heaping cups of meal. Honey, you can try this. It's some of the best cornbread I've ever ate. I mean, you can put your eggs and do whatever you want to it, whatever you want to do. But I'm for easy and less ingredients and the quality of the taste. So right here we've got one. We're going to have 1 great big heaping cup of white lily self-rising flour. All right, there we go. Now I have my mayonnaise. I have JFG. You can use whatever kind you want to use. Okay, I've got a huge tablespoon. I'm going to use 1, 2. That's probably around 3 regular tablespoons. And then I'm going to add a little bit of buttermilk. Measuring cup. I'm going to start out with 1 cup of buttermilk. Now this is, you don't have to have this. If you don't have buttermilk, honey, you can use sweet milk or you can use just water. I've used just water. Let me get a cup of water. like I told you, this old girl from Tennessee has been brought up poor. So when my mama made it, well, if we had mayonnaise, she used mayonnaise. If not, she used egg, cornmeal, and flour, and then she just used water. So, and it turned out perfect. So I'm gonna put the rest of this cup of water in here. So that was a cup of buttermilk, a cup of water, and the buttermilk just makes it more fluffier, and it just gives it a better flavor. But you can use sweet milk, or you can use all water. We're going to put about half of that cup of water. And I'm going to turn my oven up. I've still got that roast in there, and it's on 325. And I wanted it to bake slow the rest of the evening. We probably won't eat till about 5 or 6. So I'm going to go ahead. That's going to be 2 cups of water, 1 cup of buttermilk, 3 tablespoons of mayonnaise, 2 heaping cups of self-rising meal, 1 heaping cup of self-rising flour. And this is almost like a cake consistency. I mean, what could be easier? And honey, this cornbread is good. You don't have to go through all those steps unless you want to. So you see, this is a good consistency, like. So I'm putting that right in there on top of that buttered Crisco in that skillet. That skillet's warm. You don't have to throw out none of this. I promise you. My husband loved it for milk cornbread after supper, and my little puppy dog can eat a whole piece. And there ain't nothing in it that'll hurt him. So we've got that ready, and I'm going to put that in the oven. And I'm going to turn it up just a little. It won't hurt my roast. I'm going to put that roast in the second shelf. And I've already checked it, guys. It looks good. Took my lid and poured some of the juice over top of it. So we're going to turn that up to about 450 for about 30 minutes. And that should do it on the cornbread. So we've got the cornbread, we've got green beans, we've got our roast in the oven, we've got our bread pudding done. And then I'm just going to open a can of baked beans for my son-in-law. He ain't crazy over green beans. And then I've got 2 cans of corn out here. I'm going to make just a little bit of cream-style corn. Homemade cream-style corn. It's not skillet corn. Now, you can put it in the skillet if you want to, but I'm going to put it in a saucepan. So I'll see you in a few. Ladies, I'm going to go ahead and put my corn in here with some butter and its own juice. And I'm going to let that boil for a while until it gets tender. This is great value corn. You can use Del Monte, you can use Food Club. Matter of fact, I think they had Food Club on sale this week at Food City. I want to say with your value card, it was like 49 cents a can. That's pretty cheap these days. I'm not making a great big bunch, just a small bunch amount, because I don't want it to be wasted. Now my green beans, I did do 2 bags of that, because we will eat on that cornbread and those green beans until it's gone, honey. I'm telling you. So we've got 2 cans of whole kernel corn, and I'm going to turn it on high. I'm going to put some salt and black pepper in it. Start out with 1 stick of Blue Bonnet butter. I tried to find the light Blue Bonnet, but couldn't find it. So we're just going to go a couple rounds of salt and black pepper to your taste, and this is the coarse ground black pepper. So we're going to let that sit there and cook a while. I'm getting my wooden spoon out here. I want that corn to cook till it's good and tender. So I'll be right back. Still letting this corn boil. My green beans are done. My bread pudding's done. I've got my cornbread in the oven. It's not hardly done yet, but I'm trying to just let this corn boil with the butter in it and its own juices and salt and pepper until it gets, the corn kernels get tender. So I'll be back in a few. Hey folks, I've got my corn cooked down until it's just about mushed, and I'm going to put a, let's see if I can't get this open. Evidently I didn't get it open good enough. This cream and my corn that's cooked down with the butter. I'm going to put that whole can of evaporated milk. I've got some salt and pepper in it. I've got 1 stick of butter. And I'm making some homemade cream style corn. I'm going to put just a little bit of water. We've just about got our supper ready. When I do cream style corn, I like it a lot of juice in it. So what I'm going to do is take, this is about 2 tablespoons of flour, self-rising flour, and I'm putting that in there. And I'm going to constantly stir that until it gets creamy. 1 stick of butter, 1 can of cream. 2 tablespoons of self-rising flour, salt and pepper to taste. Now this is just the old-fashioned way. This is, you can do it in skillet, you can do it in a saucepan or whatever, but I just didn't want a whole lot, so I just done 2 cans to taste and see if it tastes like it's needs a little bit more salt. And I'm going to put a little bit of black pepper. Tastes really good. Thinking that might be enough flavor. Put it down. I don't want it to lump up. I want my cream style corn to be creamy. Green beans are done, the cornbread's done. Let me show you my cornbread. See that big old thing of cornbread with all that crunchy stuff on it, and I do put a napkin on it, a paper towel, and a hand towel over it. Right there, you see that? Just to keep it soft and moist. I want it soft and moist. Even though it's got the crust on it, it still will be soft and moist inside. So you just continue to stir this. I call it old-fashioned cream style corn. Some people does it in a skillet and they do different things to it or add different. You can add peppers, onions, you can add cheeses to this. You can do whatever you want to this to kick it up a notch, but I just wanted some cream style corn. I can eat this plain with a little bit of cheese sprinkled over it. I'm going to take this one over here, and I'm going to use this one. And just continue to stir. Taste of it now. It's really good. Now you can use milk too, whole milk, if you don't have evaporated milk. I'm going to add just a dash of sugar. Probably about 2 pinches. And that don't make it sweet. It just enhances the flavor of the corn. And that's so good. I'm just beating the flour out of it now, because you want it to be good and creamy. This ain't like cream style corn in a can. I can't stomach that stuff. But I love homemade cream style corn. My mama showed me how to make it. She let her corn always boil down so it would be good and tender and get all that juice of that sweetness of that corn. You can see how pretty and creamy this is being. So right now I'm just going to put this on a very, very low, because my green beans are on low. I'm going to set this one back here and put it on low. And it's about ready. The cornbread's ready. And all I'm doing now is waiting. My potatoes are ready. I'm waiting on to see if my meat's tender before I can cut it. So that's it with the cream style corn, ladies. You see that it's very creamy, very thick. And then you just salt and pepper to taste. If you want to add cheese, you can. If you want to add some sour cream, you can. Alright? So, my supper, when my pork loin gets out, I'll show you that. Be back right just in a few. There we are. We're coming back on. Here is my pork loins, my 2 pork loins. They're done, and they are absolutely delicious. And this was the peppercorn pork loins that you buy individual. And all I done was took them out of the package, put them in a pan, and put some butter and water in the bottom of it. Aluminum foil really, really well, and so they'll steam cook. So I'm going to put a piece of aluminum foil back over there, keeping that warm. And then I have some extra broth over here too that we could use to go over our mashed potatoes. So I'm going to cut this cornbread. Here, puppy. Cornbread. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this cornbread. You hear that crunch in that cornbread? This is the best cornbread like this, ladies. There's no reason nobody can't make a cake of cornbread. I mean, I'll give you one of the simplest recipes that there are. And it's absolutely delicious. People think you spend all day trying to make cake cornbread. So I'm going to give my puppy a little bit. We got my cream style corn here. And I've got my green beans. And my daughter's fixing to make me some slaw. My son-in-law don't like pork loin too good, so we've got him some lamb chops warming up in the oven. Okay, Tank, he's jumping on my leg, guys. He knows this is cornbread. He absolutely loves cornbread. Just plain old cornbread. He just loves it. He just loves it. And I may put him just a little bit of, I know he don't get much pork because it makes him, we'll have to give him some Pepto-Bismol. Gives him heartburn, so I'm going to give him just a little tiny piece of pork. He'll think he's in heaven today, because he don't usually get pork at all. And if this makes him sick, he'll never get no more. It's been years since he's had any. So I have to tear that up pretty good for him, because he's just a baby, you know, he's just a little 11-pound miniature dots, and his name's Tank. So there's his cornbread, and there's his meat. And so, and then my cornbread, my pork, my corn, my green beans, just about everything's ready. I'm going to warm up a can of baked beans for my son-in-law to eat with those lamb chops. And then our supper will be ready. And then, of course, we had those bread puddings. I wanted to show you one of them once it's set up. They're absolutely gorgeous. And these have just been sitting out on the bar. Is this not gorgeous, girls? Look at this. I'm telling you, I can't hardly wait to try that. So, this is Sheila E. from Tennessee. Hope your day's been well. May God keep you safe. If you have any comments, you need to know a recipe on one of these things, give me a yell. I'll try to take some pictures of our plate and show you our supper, okay? So may God bless you, keep you safe, always smile, because smiles are contagious. Always share what we have with others, and mainly, most of all, give God glory, praise, and thanks, for He is worthy. All right, Sheila E., until I see you again, may God bless. Baby girl making me some slaw, people. She makes the best slaw I ever eat in my life. Her daddy thought he was #1, but we don't tell him, but she's got him beat. She chops that fresh cabbage up, chops them little garden tomatoes up. You put onion in it. She puts the onion in it. And mayonnaise. Salt and pepper. I'll show you the finished product here in just a minute. She's bashful. Where's bashful to the camera? Alright, I'll see you in a second. This is some brown gravy that I made from the drippings off the pork loin. It was in the bottom of my pan. I just took some flour and made a roux, and then put the pork drippings in there. And honey, it tastes so good. That's going to be so good over that gravy, over them potatoes.